Hello, good morning. So today is Monday, June 1st. We are almost there, folks. Our last day is the 17th. That's coming up real soon. As a matter of fact, shortly I'll be able to show you how soon. But in the meantime, today we have the assignment of our final project. This is a big cumulative project. I am counting it as a double test grade. It's going to be worth two test grades, which means if you didn't do well on the evolution test, okay, and the upcoming ecology test, if you don't do well on that, well, those two, but you do well on the project, two can limit out too. It can boost your grade way up. It can help to stabilize it if the tests just weren't your thing. So we hopefully will see a lot of good work, and I'm hoping that it's something that you guys will actually find kind of interesting and enjoyable. So, why don't we start up? I'll show everybody exactly where to find it. I want to go over and explain it, and then we should be able to move forward. So, here is our Schoology, and if you scroll all the way down, you will see there is a yellow folder, Monday, June 1st. Clicking on that will bring you in here, and the only thing we've got is the final project. So, for our final project, I wanted to come up with something that could kind of contain all the different things that we've done over the course of this year into one project. Trying to do that has actually been taking me quite a bit of time trying to think about what would be fun but fair, what would allow you to demonstrate the knowledge so that I could go to my boss and say, "Look, I know these people understand their stuff and here is my evidence." But at the same point, obviously not stress you too much. And with the issues with having no testing center, test mods, stuff like that, projects were suggested because we don't need to provide that. You guys take care of that yourself. So this is what we're going to go with, and I hope that you guys follow along and enjoy. All right, so you are going to be using primarily these four units: our cells, genetics, evolution, and the ecology unit we're working on now. Now, in addition, on this project, for extra points, you could also include parts of anatomy, comparing it to human body units that we did, the experimental design that we talked about at the beginning of the school year with our hypothesis, gathering data, designing the experiment, and then how do you do a good experiment? You got to make sure you have your controls. You have to make sure that you have your experimental, that you're trying to limit it down to only one variable, stuff like that. And our 8 characteristics of life, there's room for all of that here. Now, today is our orange box right here. Here is the day that it's going to be due. This black box is the day that school ends. And it's equally important for you guys to understand that all grades from us teachers need to be in at the end of the 18th right here. Ah, go back. So, I really want to make sure that if possible you guys get it in when it's due on that Monday. I will not take points off if it's late. But if I get it on Wednesday, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get a chance to grade it by the end of Thursday. So, this is our goal for Monday the 15th. Now, what is this project, you ask? I'm glad you asked that. You are going to create a cryptid. Last week, I had you guys kind of look them up, and I asked you to kind of explain what the niche was for one of your selected ones. Now, you're going to make up one. Now, this needs to be a little bit more reasonable than some of the projects that we've done because I want this to be a cryptid that might actually exist. Something that is plausible. So, something the size of a football field that shoots fire and, I don't know, eats cities. All right, that's not going to be really plausible. But I think after taking a look at a few of them for the assignment, now you might have a better idea. So you're going to make one up. Feel free to pattern it, to base it off of an existing one, but be creative. If you just do a straight copy on one, you're not going to do well on this. Now, your turn in whatever you provide to me can basically be anything that that I can look at and grade. So if you want to do a digital file and send it to me, you can do it that way. If you want to write an essay and then provide the images separate, you can do that. If you want to meet me on Google Meets and literally present it live to me, we can do that. If you want to make like a children's book type thing and drop it off at my house or at the school, we can do that. All right, any way that I can get this, and I'm totally open to other ideas that you might have too. So if I go over these different formats and you're like, what about this? The answer is going to be yes. As long as it provides the information I ask for, I don't care what format it comes in. I don't care if you write a song and then perform it and do a terrible little, like, holding up sheets of paper in front of the camera in order to show the other part. That's whatever. It's all good. All right. Any format that you can have this information to me will be phenomenal. Now, what exactly am I going to be asking for? Well, first let's go over ecology. I told you last week that you may want to keep the cryptid niche stuff or your own copy of it because it might prove useful. Well, here's why. Because for yours, I want you to basically explain that same information. Include what biome it lives in. What is its niche? What is its job in that environment? Are there any symbiotic relationships that it has? Mutualism, commensalism, or parasitism? And give me one food chain that it is somewhere within. A food chain, you don't need to do a food web. I'm going with a simpler one. Second, we're going to this week be going over a lot of human impacts, how people are influencing this world. And I want you to explain how one of those impacts is influencing it and what should we expect to happen if this impact continues. Now, I want to make sure that we are all crystal clear on this. I am not looking for you guys telling me it's going to die or it's going to go extinct. No, no, no. I want to know what sort of thing are we, the humans, expecting to happen if we continue to impact it in this way, whatever that is. It's going to be a little bit more than just saying, it's going to die. That's not going to be sufficient for this. And you'll get a better idea of the types of things that we're expecting in most cases as we go through human impacts this week. So, that's going to be the ecology side of it. Now, for cells, this one's going to get a little bit more. It should actually be pretty easy, but I needed to be more specific because it's been so long since we've done cells. I think people will have forgotten about a lot of it. So, first, you're going to explain how its cells are different. We're going to create some variants that it has. And that's why it's scriptive. That's why it's been able to remain undetected. That's how it's able to survive when it does. I need to know, are the cells prokaryotic or eukaryotic? Make sure you know which one's which. Second, I want something altered in the cellular machinery. I want their cells to do something a little bit different. It doesn't need to be completely redone, but it should have changes in either the amount, the size, or the function of known organelles. We've gone over all the organelles, so you guys should be able to go back through, find out what the organelles do, and then describe how are their cells different from most other ones based on the amount, the size, or the function, the job of the organelle. I'm going to need a picture for this. Now, you can draw it by hand and just draw a picture of what their cell looks like. Or I don't mind if you piece it together, if you're just grabbing images and copy pasting them into one. But they need to be done well. And I'll kind of explain what that means a little later. And finally, I need you to kind of bridge that gap then. You have to explain how those changes from letter B in the cellular machinery explain the behavior of the cryptid, which we saw in the ecology part. In genetics, our story that we're running with is all of our new cryptids are discovered by DNA sequencing. We discovered DNA, we tested, and we recognize that this belongs to something we've never seen before. So I want you guys to include a picture of their DNA. You can draw this by hand or once again copy and paste, but you want to make sure if you're copying and pasting that your picture matches whatever your description is, what's unique about it. I'd like you then to identify one new gene that was discovered in the organism, what that gene lets them do, and then finally, how could we humans utilize that gene through genetic engineering? What might we be able to gain by utilizing that gene? Now, I don't mean that we need to inject it into ourselves. We benefit from a lot of different genetic engineering on other organisms. So you can go that route with it too. That's probably the route you should do. We really don't like to modify ourselves, but we will modify the heck out of some bacteria. So just keep that in mind. And if you need to, go back and review exactly how that genetic engineering works. And finally, for evolution, you need to explain the evolutionary history of your organism. Now, that's going to really involve two things. So, number one, you're going to need to define what unique characteristic allows you to track that fossil. So, for instance, if you remember with dolphins, we were able to track dolphin evolution thanks to a weird nodule of bone in their skull that tells us that all these people, all these organisms, all these fossils are related to each other. I want to know, what does yours have that lets us look at fossils and go, ah, these are all related. And then finally, I'm going to need the actual evolutionary pathway. And I need you to show me where your cryptid branches off from the established real world evolutionary path. Now, you can do this once again by hand, drawing the different fossils, or maybe just the important bones, or maybe artists' renditions of what the organisms look like. I'm going to leave that up to you. We just want to see this pathway. Maybe you just want to write down the names and include arrows because you are putting together something out of real animals, but that's wholly fictitious. That's fine too. Or once again, copy and paste. You can piece it together. All right, so those are the four requirements that I'm going to ask for. The bonus topics, including any of these, will just get you more points on top. So if you compare the anatomy of your cryptid versus people using the different body systems that we've gone over in humans and how they're different and how that means that their lifestyle is different, that's worth bonus points. If you talk about an experiment that you want to design to try and catch this creature, either like physically catch it or just on camera or something, describe how you would do that. You can get more points. Our 8 characteristics of life, way back at the beginning of the year, I had you create a completely fictitious random monster creature thing, and you guys had to describe how it did 4 of the 8 characteristics of life. For bonus points here, describe how it does all 8 characteristics, and you can find those online if you don't remember and don't have your notes. Now, I have some suggestions for everyone. As we're going through this, number one, I suggest per day pick one topic. So if we go back here, remember we got 4 major focuses, right? We got cells, genetics, evolution, and ecology. If you spend each day doing one of these, you need 4 days. And that means that each day you're going to be working for a little under, about 40 minutes. No more than that. You're going to find that a lot of work between here and the end of the year is going to fall off because I want to make sure that you guys do have the time you need in order to get this done. So I suggest, once again, just one of these topics per day. And then, if you finish up early and you're like, wow, I still have 2 days before this is due, then look into the bonus stuff to see if you could slide just a little bit more in there. All right, second, make sure if there's a day that we meet for class but we don't have work, good idea is to go, all right, then my work for today is the project. Don't, like, it's easy to fall into the trap of not doing work because, oh, well, they didn't assign work, so I'm not going to worry about it. Try to think of it more as, all right, my work for today then is. Please, number three, do not stress about getting this done by tomorrow. Some of you, I put the assignment up in the folder by like 7 o'clock in the morning, and by the time I meet you at 11 for class, people already have it turned in. And that's great sometimes. But really, if you're doing this that quickly, you're not doing it right and you're not doing it well enough to get a decent grade. Spend some time. Relax. Slow down. Get it to me when it's due on the 15th. Fourth, use your notes. If you still have your notes, which you should, then they could be very helpful for a lot of this. If not, interweb. And finally, number five, I will accept this in any format as long as I can view it. Now, that does mean if you send it to me in something weird and I don't have a program to open it, I'm going to message you back and be like, yeah, I need another version of this. My suggestion is if it looks like it's going to be like that, make sure you keep a copy because then when I message you back and I say, I can't open this, you open it because clearly you worked on it. Take pictures of each page and then you send me all those pictures and I can judge it from there. But literally, if you guys come up with some crazy cool idea that you want to go for, do it. As long as I can view it, you will get points for it. And then I wanted to include the rubrics that I'm grading it on. So I'm not going to go through and read all of these. They are in the slideshow. It is part of Schoology. You are welcome to go through and review. But basically, for every one of these units, I have exactly what I'm looking for at each of the point scales. And then to help out, we're also going to get you graded once on the overall presentation of the whole thing. And then I included each of the bonuses. Now, the bonuses only go up to 3 points because they're bonus. You'll notice the 8 characteristics, there's literally only one thing. You will get 3 points if you have all 8. You will get nothing if you have less than 8. But this should help you guys to organize, to know what it is that you need to do, what it is that I'm looking for you to do. Because this needs to show, this needs to provide evidence of the whole year of learning and what you can show for the time that you've spent in class. So, hopefully that will help clarify some things. It's a big assignment. That's why you're going to have 2 weeks to get it done. It's going to count for 2 test grades, so it's going to factor in very heavily for the fourth marking period's total grade. Arguably, I haven't done all the math, but arguably doing well on this project will result in a decent grade for this fourth marking period, even if like all the other work is missing. So keep those things in mind. Use the Schoology folder. Once again, you can find it right over here. All right, the presentation I just did is right there. Click on it, open it, use it for review, step by step. You let me know, show up to class, email me, message me, let me know if you need help with any of it, if any part of it is stumbling you or proving overly difficult, or just something that you want some clarification of. Like always, we'll still be doing class every day. But I wanted to get this assigned to everybody now so you had the time that you need. I hope that that clarifies it. I hope everyone feels a little bit more comfortable than you would having just read it. And I'll see everyone tomorrow.